Hey guys, what's up? In Brazil this week? Wait, actually I missed a week, so it will be more like in Brazil last 2 weeks. We were talking about the CBLOL week 4 and 5, the Brazilian qualification to Worlds, a new Twitch TV server, a little bit of Counter-Strike, some transfers in the teams, and, as always, the word of the week. Let's go! With the week 4 and 5 out of 7 weeks of the CBLOL, we start to know which team is better than the other. Even though KD had to lose 2 points because they made too many transfers, they're still at the first place. And talking about problematic transfers, the transfer of Eza from Kaboom to KD is still a real issue. Eza was under contract with Kaboom, and KD transferred him before they had an agreement with Kaboom for the transfer. KD and Kaboom failed to find an agreement on how much KD must pay to break the contract and when they have to pay it. And KD and Kaboom don't speak to each other anymore, so Kaboom went to the tribunal to resolve the problem. And now Kaboom is asking for 100,000 reais, which is more or less 30k euros, so it will be up to the judge to find a solution. But Eza is not the only mess at KD Stars. 3 weeks ago, KD announced that Chacarez, the Portuguese YouTuber, analyst, also Kyle fanatic and the fervent follower of the CBLOL, as their new head coach. Well, 2 weeks later, Chacarez is no more part of KD, and he explained it is because KD failed to buy him the tickets to Brazil, so he just did not want to be a head coach from afar. But all this doesn't matter so far. Why? Because KD is #1 seed in the standing. But even though they are first, weirdly enough, the KD Stars did not look so strong in the last 2 weeks. Sure, they won against Kaboom and Senibe, but they are not the strongest team right now. It took Revolta some insane moves to make the victory happen, like this Dragon Steal in a teamfight right after Loop, and Eza got caught in the bot lane.
Ele foi reposicionado. O dragão vai sendo feito, o Revolta tá pronto para roubar. Ele tem ultimate, Takeshi também é um combo forte aí, Diana, com a Sejuani.
Será que ele consegue executar o roubo? Tá por ali, a entrada é fácil, pode tentar ir pra cima. Roubou! O Revolta rouba o dragão mais uma vez. Eliminação múltipla da equipe da Cade. Acabou hoje, paga um preço muito caro.
Revolta still seems to solo carry when Takeshi loses 1v1s against Vash in a split push situation.
Da maneira concreta. E agora, replay daquele 1 contra 1 enquanto o Barão estava sendo iniciado. Nossa, o Takeshi já foi 1 contra 1 mais ou menos, né? Porque o Takeshi começou com pouquíssima vida e depois com a exaustão e tudo que vimos não deu pro
Oportunidade de utilizar o seu túnel, de chegar nesse dive. O Element tem flash, você tenta utilizar e ganhar tempo. Já chegou o Revolta também, levantou o Element. O Lex está focando, está sendo focado para a torre. Revolta perdendo bastante vida e o gank não dá certo.
While the team is really still the best team in Brazil right now, I start to question their ability to win the playoffs. At the second place it is ENTZ. After their loss against KD in the week 1, the Intrepides did not miss a single game. They were very quick to recover from the Revolta's departure, and to be honest, I have never seen Tokers play so well, and he seems to always find a way to get the better of the mid lane.
Para utilizar isso de maneira que ele consiga transformar em bichinho muitas vezes. Por exemplo, agora, ó.
O Tokers se estendeu, o oponente utilizou as correntes, consegue acertar, tem incendiário em cima do Yoda, pode sair o First Blood para INTZ, para o Toker.
Young is still my favorite player in the top lane, even though sometimes he is a little bit over-eager in the teamfight, like in this fight against Kaboom.
Apanha a torre do topo. É justamente esse o combo sensacional. Evapora os inimigos do level próximo que cai. A sequência pra cima do Dance que sai vivo por milagre por ali. O foco vira o Yang, pode ser eliminado. Proteção sensacional, mas no fim das contas...
As expected, Alox and Mikon are doing very good in the bot lane, but the real question mark is the jungle with Jokster. He now seems to have a good idea of what he is doing with Gragas and Rek'Sai. But I feel like a target ban on his comfort picks can really stop ENTZ on their track. This being said, ENTZ is the most sexy team in Brazil right now. At the third place we have Pain Gaming. and I feel like they need a kick on their ass from their coach. They have a very hard time working together. They keep destroying their opponents in lanes, but when it comes to team fight and team tactics, no. Against Generation X, they managed to lose a team fight when they were 8k gold ahead. And they were not even diving or fighting for an objective. What the fuck?
Por exemplo, tudo bem que conseguiu 2 abates, né? Saiu na vantagem 2 a 1, mas a gente viu que foi a GTX que colocou eles pra correr. E olha só agora o Sertúlio, foi focado, boa chegada do professor, justo aqui também, o Kami agora chega, tem o seu dano pra burstar, o Sertúlio vai sendo focado, Killing Spree para o Tile, Back TTX na linha de frente, tem que tomar cuidado, porém consegue partir pra cima do Tile, teleporte dos Antis vai chegando, o Dark recebe o cura do companheiro, ultimate da Kalista, o Jude agora vai ser focado e abatido pelo Recarim, tenta ir no time da G3X viver essa partida, a Kalista já morreu, são 3 abates para a equipe da G3X, os Antis agora tentam matar o Milo, o Crow foi pra cima, mas o caminhão tem muito dano, quase que o que morreu conseguiu o abate, double kill para o Milo, abatido pelos Antis, o tiro saiu, foi atrás do Kami, mas os Antis têm que recuar, nossa!
Right now, Pain Gaming clearly doesn't know how to close games and play together. But if they do their homework, they should really be a force to reckon with. At the 4th place, it is Generation X, who started very well in the early weeks, but now starts to fall short of stamina. CNB now has 4 points after their win against Generation X, and they are not last anymore. But the team, it seems like they don't have a leader, they lack confidence. They are playing very well together, they are very coordinated, but it seems like they don't really have a good shot caller or maybe a playmaker, something to add some salt to the food. Kaboom Orange is a mess. They just lost Bruno, their jungler, which will be replaced by Dance, but Dance will not go in the jungle, he will be AD carry instead, and it will be Minerva going in the jungle. So yeah, it's just a real mess. ENTZ Red also has 3 points and they also made changes. In week 4, Chaos and Leo Zusho switched their place from top lane and the jungle. Then in week 5, ENTZ Red decided that Leo Zusho should not stay in the team and they called back Robo, which used to play for ENTZ Red when they qualified for the CBLOL. And Robo had a very great comeback. In his first game, he played against Mylon in the top lane and he soloed him twice, and even the arrival of 30 did not help the Pain Gaming team.
Já fechou ali o seu Fago, no topo o Mylon e o Robô brigando, o Mylon tá level 7, o Robô level 6, mas o Robô tem ult.
Foi pra cima ainda agora o Mylon, consegue causar bastante dano, volta no ultimate, o Mylon recebe muito dano também, pode ser eliminado, pouquíssima vida, caiu o equalizador, mas o Robô vence o 1x1 contra o Mylon. A equipe da ENTZ Red consegue farmar mais, tem 2 eliminações e parte pra cima do Mylon mais uma vez, o dano é muito alto, outro atordoamento, será que ele consegue sair? A vida do Robô completa ainda, pode vir mais uma eliminação por aí, o Túlio vem chegando, chega com tudo, mas não é o suficiente, a eliminação acontece, será que vem um double? Será que vem um double por aí? O Túlio apanha bastante, vai fazendo recuo, olha o double, mais um dive, volta no ultimate, mas não deu.
So, ENTZ Red is in a very complicated situation and they risk to be relegated next season, but their changes might pay off. And finally, Kaboom Black is the last in the standings with only 2 points. Next weekend it will be the week 6 of the CBLOL, so what game should you really watch? Well, I think the game to watch is ENTZ against Pain Gaming, the most sexy team in Brazil against the most disorganized stack of skill we have in Brazil. So see you Saturday on the Riot official Twitch channel at 3 PM Brazilian time. Talking about Twitch TV, they just opened 2 brand new servers in Brazil, one in Rio de Janeiro and another in São Paulo. It will be a huge improvement for the streamers in Brazil, but I have no idea if it will improve the quality of the stream for the viewers. But let's hope for the best, right? The Brazilian qualification to the World Finals has finally been announced. If a Brazilian team wants to go to the World Finals, they will have to take the first place of the playoffs in São Paulo the 8th of August. Then, they will have to beat the champion of the Latin American region and the champion of the Russian region in a tournament which will happen in Chile the 5th of September. So yeah, you really heard that. They will send the Russians to qualify for Worlds in Chile. Yeah, why not? And now something new in the bear week, I will talk a little bit about Counter-Strike. The CSGO KD team has had very great success lately. Last weekend they won the iBuyPower Summer Invitational against the best teams in North America, and watch their reaction.
4-on-3 though. Steel rotating and finds one. Picks up that AK right now, and another one. Beautiful. He's still blind. He finds two. 3-on-2 right now. They've actually got the advantage. Steel with the third coming into sight. Now it's just Fuzzy on the sight box, and there it is.
KD also holds the second place of the ESEA North America. So they are qualified for the grand final in Germany, which will happen the 2nd of July against the best teams of Europe and NA. So the Brazilian teams are very well represented by KD in CSGO, but I hope we will see more Brazilian teams in the future. What a surprise when you see a group of burglars, which are used to raid houses, and on the photo when the police caught them, that one of them is not wearing a shirt of a football team, but instead wearing the shirt of INTZ. It forces you to think that Riot's self-proclaimed ultimate goal of making esports considered as a real sport might have come true. Because a burglar wearing an esports t-shirt instead of a football team t-shirt might be the best example of esports being considered as a real sport we will ever have. But what does a boy stealing goods have to do with Brazilian League of Legends? In the CBLOL, stealing, or may I say Roubar, might be considered as a national sport, like in these two examples. Severe roubou o barão.
O Caos tancou, ó,
Vai
segura esse barão.
tentar e olha, roubou! Roubou o Barão Matsukaze!
Ó, segura esse...
And Revolta roubou o dragão.
Tentar utilizá-lo, já utilizou, parou ali 3 jogadores, o Revolta vai fazer o dragão que resetou um pouquinho, mas fica o dragão para o time da Cade.
So if you ever watch the CBLOL, you might get used to the casters shouting, roubou! Roubou!
Dragão roubou! O Revolta rouba o dragão muito rápido, roubou! O Dragone rouba o Barão da equipe da Red.
Roubar is the word of the week. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and if you like the Beer Week, make sure that you share it, you like it, and you subscribe to the channel. You can find my other Beer Weeks in the Beer Week playlist. You can also follow the Facebook page OnMyWayToDiamond, or just follow me on Twitter at dridrione. And see you guys next week.